Hey, I'm Rick,
I'm Julian.
and we are your amateur car repair hacks. We may not get it right the first time, but by the time we're done, you will have learned everything we did. Today, we're replacing the transmission fluid and filter and gasket on a 2004 Dodge Durango SLT. Julian's already got the transmission filter kit, picked it up at the local store. Some of the other supplies we have transmission conditioner, we have the ATF Plus 4 oil. I want to remind you to check with the VIN number of your car to make sure you've got all the right specs. There are several different transmissions for the Dodge Durango and even several options for the 2004. Julian actually got into the car last night. This has the 15 bolt pattern on the transmission housing. There's also a 13 bolt, so you just need to count those and make sure you've got the right one. First we need is an 8mm socket, and we're going to town. All right, you'll see Julian's well underway, halfway back under the car doing the heavy lifting, wearing safety glasses, just keep any falling debris from dropping in. He's got his 8mm ratchet. He's going to slowly remove the 15 bolts around the transmission cover, and he'll be working from opposite corner to opposite corner. You do have to be careful for flying tools whenever you are working on a car. As you can see, we've got all 15 bolts taken out, but it could be the gaskets kind of got her stuck in place. So the heavy lifting guy is coming in with a flathead screwdriver and rubber mallet. We're going to see if we can break this guy loose from underneath the car. Well, we were able to extract the transmission housing. We had the fluid pan, fortunately, under there with us. As you can see that it was quite messy dropping this whole pan down. There is no drain plug on it, so it's full of fluid when you remove it. So we've got a little rubber mat there to help out. Got a little cleanup to do. Julian, how did that fluid taste?
Not good.
So much for transmission fluid milkshakes. Anyway, we'll get right back to you. Okay, you can see we pulled the transmission filter off. It had basically one bolt, which is actually a T25 torque screw that we pulled off the end, and that nozzle was just a force fit up in it, so it was very easy to pull out once we were done. Okay, you can sort of see the remnants of the old gasket and sealant they must have used, so we're going to clean all that off. We've already wiped off the underneath, so we're just going to do a little housekeeping here, and we'll be ready to put the new one on. As you can see, we're now using a flathead screwdriver just to kind of clean all the old gasket debris off of it, because you want it really clean for the new gasket to seal properly. Trial and error means we're making the errors with every trial. Julian's now using a putty knife, which is a lot easier to work than a smaller flathead screwdriver to get that old gasket stuff taken off.
You can see there's a bunch of little metal flakes on there, and that's the magnet that's inside of the pan. That grabs all the extra stuff.
And does it just sit in the pan in a certain place?
Just right there.
Okay.
There's no easy way to get up there.
Okay, Julian is putting the new filter back on. We already had the force fit at one end and that T25 torque screw at this end. You can see we scraped off pretty much any remaining debris from the old gasket, and we are now ready to get our 15 bolts, our new gasket, back on. We decided to go ahead and wipe out the pan because there was still some little metal debris in there, just some other junk from 15 years of road wear. We've now laid the new gasket over it and ready to reinstall. You can see here we've already preloaded all 15 bolts, with the exception of one that we were getting ready to put it back in, but with the new rubber gasket actually holds them in place. So then we'll lift it up to the bottom of the housing and actually hand thread each one to get them going. You'll also know that as we become more professional We've also become much smarter and now using power tools to reinstall the bolts. And we'll probably hand tighten with a socket just to make sure at the end. Well, as you can see, we've just about hit the home stretch. We went back and actually torqued each of those 15 bolts down another couple of quarter turns after we used the drill, and double checked everything. Everything's good, tight. And now we're ready for the final chapter. We're going to, not sure what the volume capacity is, was not able to find that online. So we're sure it's at least 3 quarts using ATF plus 4. But we're also going to add at least one 20-ounce bottle of transmission fluid conditioner. Now the important thing is it's not to overfill your transmission, especially in this car, since there is no drain plug. You're in trouble if you put in too much. So we'll be checking it regularly after putting in 2 quarts, and then start checking it as we go. Guesses could be that it might be a 3-quart capacity with the conditioner, but we're going to be checking it via the dipstick. This is how you add it back in, right back through the dipstick hole. Well, I had to make a quick run to the auto parts store because didn't have quite enough transmission fluid. You can actually look up the capacities using your VIN number at any store. There's lots of variables here though with this Durango. This one actually uses 11 pints. Of course, we spilled a ton of it all over the floor, so we really didn't know exactly how much we had. So we're just about done. Another little trick we do, which is also a little bit safer to dispose of this way. Every time we pour in a quart, we actually scoop out quart from the pan, so we kind of keep a running total as far as how much we're displacing. Now, guaranteed, like I said before, we spilled a ton of this stuff all over the place, so we really aren't sure, but this kind of gives you an approximate gauge on how much you've put in and how much you actually took out. Now, you're also going to go ahead, while we're still putting this in when it's cold, is actually shift the gears a few times. Might help move it around in that transmission so that we know if we're getting anywhere. Okay, well, we're going to stop for now because according to the dipstick, it's reading right at the second hole. We don't want to go any more than that right now while it's cold. We've put in 9 pints of fluid, so we're just going to keep an eye on it, see if we need to add a little bit more later tonight or in the morning. But that's pretty much it. You know, we're the trial and error guys. We don't promise anything, but you can usually find a way to make it work. Good luck.